Welcome back to the Law Show. Bob Kerrigan with you. Kerrigan, Estes, Rankin, McLeod, and Thompson, sponsors here of the Law Show. We provide this as a public service. Of course, it's an advertisement because our firm is involved, but our hope is to provide information to people that will benefit them about the law. And today, my pleasure to continue the conversation with Danielle Roberts, who's written 10 Costly Medicare Mistakes. She's with Boomer and Boomer Affiliates. Was it, Ms. Roberts? I've probably gotten the wrong name.
Boomer, yeah, it's Boomer Benefits.
Boomer Benefits. All right. Boomer Benefits, 10 Costly Medicare Mistakes. You were going to tell us, and you were right in the middle of telling us when we had to take a break, about these other things, Medigap, MedSup, and Advantage plans. What are they and how do they fit in with Medicare?
Yeah, so we talked that Medicare has two original parts, and then there were two parts that were added. So Part C is the Medicare Advantage program, which is a way that you can get your benefits through a private local insurance company that operates a network in your area. And Part D is the voluntary prescription drug plan insurance. So before 2006, people on Medicare didn't have any substantial outpatient medication coverage. Now through Part D, which is optional, you can enroll and get good coverage. And so because Medicare only covers a certain percentage of your benefits, that your healthcare services, there are things that you can add to Medicare, like a Medicare supplement or the Part C Medicare Advantage plan, to help you minimize the other costs that are involved. So, for example, Medicare only covers 80% of your outpatient coverage, and you pay the other 20% with no cap, no out-of-pocket maximum to limit you. And so that's why Medicare supplements and Medicare Advantage plans exist, to help you pay for things like deductibles and co-insurance and co-pays that otherwise you would have to pay out of pocket.
What is Medigap?
Medigap is another term for a Medicare supplement, and that is coverage that you can buy that sort of bolts onto the back of your Medicare coverage and helps to pay for your hospital deductible, your that 20% that we talked about, skilled nursing facility co-insurance, all of those things where normally you would have some spending as you go. Your Medicare supplement will help to pick those things up for you.
All right, fair enough. Let's go right into the meat of this and start with what's the biggest mistake people make in terms of acquiring Medicare?
So mistake number one, of course, is just being unaware that Medicare is not free. It's surprising to me how many people that we meet every single month all across America who are getting ready to retire and reach out to us for help with setting up Medicare and are absolutely shocked to find out that Medicare isn't free. So it's really important to sit down with your financial planner in advance of turning 65 to get a feel for what those costs are going to be for you in retirement, what you're going to spend for Medicare Parts B and D, and for the supplemental coverage that you need to cover those deductibles, co-insurance, and co-pays, so that you're not caught off guard and so that you put away enough money for the future to be able to pay for those healthcare costs throughout your retirement.
Good, good. What about enrolling on time?
Yes, of course. So mistake number 3 in the book is missing your initial enrollment period. So if you didn't know about that 7-month window and you just failed to enroll in Medicare, which actually does happen more often than you would think, then of course you're going to be subject to late enrollment penalties later on, and you may go for a time without any type of coverage. So in addition to being unaware that Medicare costs money and that there are costs as you go along, some people are not aware of when they need to sign up, and therefore they miss that enrollment period, or perhaps they have employer coverage and they don't know that their small employer coverage is secondary to Medicare. They may miss that enrollment. So it's good for you to research all of that ahead of time and make sure that you hit the window for your personal situation.
Oh, I shouldn't have skipped number 2. I just jumped the gun here to get to number 3. What was number 2?
So number 2 is just expecting Medicare to cover 100% of your medical costs.
Okay.
If you think about your current insurance now that you have under 65, you don't go to the doctor or hospital and pay nothing. You have copays that you pay. There is a deductible if you go in the hospital. And Medicare has those same things. So in addition to paying for Medicare itself, for Parts B and D, you also are going to pay as you go along. You have copays and coinsurance and deductibles. And that's what, of course, creates the need for those Medicare Supplemental Advantage and Part D products. That's why those things exist.
All right, let's move on. What's another big mistake people make in regards to acquiring or starting with Medicare?
So one thing we see people make a mistake on is not signing up for the Part D coverage, usually because they are pretty healthy and take little to no medications. Even though Medicare Part D is voluntary, there are two reasons why you absolutely want to enroll when you're first eligible and you don't have any other creditable coverage. Number one is that even though it's voluntary, you will pay a penalty if you enroll late. So let's say that you went 5 years without enrolling in Part D. You pay 1% of the national average Part D premium for every month that you failed to enroll. So you would pay a 60% higher monthly premium for the rest of your life because you didn't sign up for Part D when you were first eligible. Medicare needs people paying into the system to make this work for everyone. So you want to avoid that. And the second thing is that you can only sign up for Part D drug plans at certain times of the year. So if you don't enroll when you're first eligible and then you get sick with an illness, let's say in February one year, and you have a medication that gets prescribed to you that's $600 a month, you will pay that out of pocket for the whole rest of the year until a broker like myself can get you into a drug plan during the next valid election period. So there is some risk there that you could be prescribed a very expensive medication and not have any coverage for it and have to wait quite a while to get it.
Good stuff. Talking with Danielle Roberts and her book, 10 Costly Medicare Mistakes. We've been talking about this interview, looking forward to it for some time. So let's go on. What else can we tell folks about to help them avoid making a mistake in acquiring Medicare?
So another really good thing to be aware of is that whenever you do leave that employer coverage, whether you did that right at 65 or whether you work past 65, your group employer insurance is going to send you a letter in the mail called a letter of creditable coverage, and it's going to list the dates of the coverage that you had. And this is a very important document for you to be aware of and to keep, because you will need to present that letter to your future Part D carrier to make sure that you don't pay a late penalty. You need to be able to prove that you had the coverage from age 65 going forward, especially when you're delaying Medicare. So when you get that letter from your insurance company, you need to file it away in a safe place. That way you have it to present to either Medicare or Medicare Part D insurance company that may ask for it, so that you don't end up paying a penalty that you don't actually owe. We run into thousands of people every year that didn't know to keep this letter. They don't know what it is, so they shred it or throw it away. And then you're running around chasing it down, trying to call your old insurance company and get a copy. They don't fax the copies. They have to mail them. It can take weeks to get them. So do yourself a favor and just be on the lookout for that letter about 2 weeks after your creditable coverage ends. It will arrive in the mailbox, put it away in a safe place, and then you'll have it when you need it.
Great advice. How can people contact you or your company to have their individual situation assessed? And by the way, this is not a paid commercial for Ms. Roberts' company. I've contacted her because I was very interested and thought her book was excellent, because there's so much misunderstanding about Medicare. But I want our viewers to be able to contact you and contact any other broker that they want to contact. But how would they contact you if they want to know more about what services you provide?
Sure. So we're really easy to find online. You can find us at boomerbenefits.com, or you can find an 800 number to reach out to us, or you can go to our website and put your information into the form there, and someone from our team will reach out to you. We also operate a free private Facebook group. So if you are on Facebook, you can go to the Boomer Benefits page and sign up for our Medicare Q&A with Boomer Benefits, where you can put your Medicare questions in and our team will answer those for you free of charge. It's a free group and we'd love to have you there.
Let's go back. Thank you very much. Let's go back to the Medicare Advantage. We see commercials by Not disparaging old people because I'm one of them, but we have all these old people advertising, celebrities and whatever, for Medicare Advantage plans and saying that you get free eyeglasses and you get free this and free that, and there is no free lunch, and people just can't figure it out. How is it possible for these companies to give you free things um, and still make a profit? And they obviously are making a profit, and they're spending an awful lot of money trying to convince you to to buy what they're selling. So, what's the story about Medicare Advantage plans? Maybe the good and the bad, but can you give us a big picture of it?
Sure. So, Medicare Advantage plans were created as an alternative because not everyone can afford a Medicare supplement. And so, you can get your coverage instead through a private insurance company in your local area that operates a network. And typically, these are HMO or PPO plans. So, what you're doing is you're agreeing to get your Medicare Part A and B benefits through that private insurance company's local network. So, it's always important to make sure that your doctor is in the network. And if that Medicare Advantage plan includes Part D, which many of them do, you need to make sure that your medications are on the formulary. And when you see these plans offering coverage for very inexpensive or sometimes even a zero premium, and you think, how could they provide the coverage for free? Well, they certainly are not providing it for free. They get paid by Medicare itself to deliver your insurance benefits to you. And they get paid quite a bundle. It can be over $1,000 a month in many circumstances. And so then if they can offer coverage to you and spend less than that on your benefits each month, it's a win for the insurance company. They can make a profit. And you need to be aware that because you're in a network situation, an insurance company is making your decisions on healthcare, you may run into things like needing to pick a primary care doctor or getting a referral before you can see a specialist. There are often more prior authorizations on Medicare Advantage plans than what you would find with original Medicare. So you want to know that there's always something you're giving up, even if it's free, and you need to research that coverage carefully, understand how it works, and just know that if they offer something fancy, I call it shiny object syndrome, ooh, look at this gym membership, it's great. Make sure that you are really convinced that that coverage is right for you for the important things that we need health insurance for, like major life illnesses, covering our medications. You know, what if we were to have cancer? How would we be treated? What doctors could we see? What would we spend? Make sure the coverage fulfills all of those things to your satisfaction. And then if it happens to have an eye exam benefit or a gym membership, that's gravy. It's great you can have it. Lovely to be able to take advantage of that benefit. But make sure that it's not the only reason or the first reason that you're choosing that coverage.
What a wonderful summary of that. I think most people just have no idea about many of the things that we've talked about today. We've been talking to Danielle Roberts in her book, 10 Costly Medicare Mistakes. There's some others in there. Our time is running out. Thank you very much, Ms. Roberts, for joining us today. This is Kerrigan, Estes, Rankin, McLeod, and Thompson's Law Show. I'm Bob Kerrigan, here with you every Sunday morning at 9:30. Our firm specializes in very serious injury and death claims across the Southeast, and we're happy to consult at no charge or obligation to you whatsoever. So, Ms. Roberts, thank you very much for joining us today on the Law Show.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right. Danielle Roberts, you can find her at Boomer Benefits. And we'll be back with a second or third edition, I guess, of the Law Show coming up after this short commercial break. Bob Kerrigan speaking for the lawyers at Kerrigan, Estes, Rankin, McLeod, and Thompson.